says we're live, even though I can't see it on this end. Maybe it's because it's the lag can refresh. Whoops. Oh, okay. Let me move it a little bit more this way. Okay. Can you guys hear and see us okay? Let me know. I'm just gonna wait. My computer has a lag of like, I don't know, 10 seconds, but I can see your guys' chat that way, so I wanna make sure you guys can hear us. Sounds great. Okay, so everyone, this is my husband, AJ. The camera's that way.
Yeah,
so
there's already a great question right there.
What's the question? What's it like living with me?
Yes.
Okay. So just to give a few minutes for people to hop online, I just thought you could give like a mini background about yourself, like before we met, you know, where you came from, what you did, and all that kind of stuff. Just like a mini background about yourself.
Mini background. Well, I'm not from a farming family. I was raised in Fresno, California, which is a big agricultural area, but
just a little bit. Be loud.
I'm not loud like you.
You have to be loud.
But I'm not from an agricultural family. I went to college at Fresno State. I have my bachelor's degree in sports medicine. I worked as an athletic trainer for 4 or 5 years. That's how I met Tara. I worked in college athletics, and now I'm in physician assistant school. So that's it. Yeah,
so I think I've said in videos before that he's in PA school, so it's physician's assistant. And
no physician, no
physician.
Yes.
Physician assistant. So if people have no idea what that is there like a brief explanation of it? Because some people know what a PA is and some people have no idea.
Essentially, I have the same responsibilities as a physician. I diagnose, order labs, order diagnostic tests, read those, interpret them, prescribe medications, but I work collaboratively with a physician, so I'm not independent. So basically, like, I would work next to a doctor, we would see patients, or I would see them independently and then consult with them. Yeah, that's kind of about it. I have two months of didactic school left, so that's like the classroom part. And then I'll start clinical rotations for 15 months, starting in March. And then graduate in 2022.
And then I expect him to make the big bucks. So you guys go ahead, and if you have any questions for us, put it in the chat, and I'm going to be watching it. And for now, we'll just kind of like share how we met and how I dragged him to the farm. So if you just got on, he is not from a farming background. One person said I married a city slicker. Kind of did, yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. So if you have any questions, just start typing them in, and I've got the chat in front of me, so I'll try to answer them as we go. So we were both living in Reno at the time when we met. He was working at UNR, and I was a nanny. I hadn't moved back to the farm yet. And so we started dating, and we were only together a couple weeks, and then he took a job in Fresno and moved and was working there. So when you were in Fresno and I was in Reno, like, did you have any expectation of like eventually she'll move to Fresno or something like that, or was any of that like on your mind? Because I feel like he was in love with me after like one day.
I wouldn't say that.
So, I mean, he was already like, I gotta lock this girl down.
Well,
so we were long distance for a few months. Well, we were long distance for a super long time, but Reno to Fresno, we were long distance for a few months.
Well, I mean, you moved back home after about 6 months of dating.
But that's what I mean. So, like, while I was in Reno, did you have like any expectation of like me moving to Fresno, or like just wasn't really thinking that far?
Well, at that time you were a nanny and you're also still in school or thinking about becoming a teacher. So I thought
Yeah.
there could have been a chance, but you also made it pretty obvious early on that you were going to go home and be a farmer. So I think I knew pretty early on that I would probably have to leave my job.
Oh, really?
I thought so, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because we already started talking about me
Moving here.
moving here, looking for jobs, or giving it up and going to PA school. So I thought pretty early on that I would have to give it up.
So like when I was like I'm moving home to be a farmer, like there was no like shock or anything like that for you. You were like, yep, she already said she was gonna do that. So.
Yeah, like, it was not a shock
Yeah.
or a surprise at all.
Oh wow, thank you, M. Bertram, for your donation. Let's see. Oh, his family is from Sanger. We definitely know where Sanger is. Almonds.
Oh, that's great.
PhD in microbiology.
Yeah, smart guy.
I was gonna say sounds very
Smart guy.
smart. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna scroll back and let's see. It looks like I got asked a couple times what it's like living with me. That's a pretty broad question, and I think it's evolved over time.
Yes.
Because we didn't live together that well in the beginning.
No, but that's a lot of that was I had never lived with somebody before.
A girl.
Well, a girl. And then it was a big reality, or a big like change in scenery coming from the city to rural Sacramento County. Like the first night that I moved here, our power went out and we had to set up a generator. So that was a very rude awakening, which I still don't know how to set up a generator, so I'm not very handy at all.
I think like I was pretty honest about what it was gonna be like living here, but like you just don't get it until you're here.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like she was not kidding. Like this is how it is.
Yeah. And it probably took like a full year to kind of adjust to that. And it was rough here and there. Like again, like I like having like a stable internet connection. Like that is for me like it's like water or air, and so that was tough.
It should be like water for people.
So that was tough.
That's been his biggest struggle, I would say, is dealing with slow internet.
Yeah. But I have grown to like it and appreciate it. I like the fact that it's quiet. Like we don't get dropped in on like randomly a ton, which is nice.
Yeah. Someone asked how you like the chickens.
The chickens are fine. I don't really deal with them. What you'll figure out is that anything that is outdoors, like farming related, I have nothing to do with. So.
Yeah, someone asked if you know how to drive farm equipment.
Nope, can't drive farm equipment, can't drive a stick.
You've never been in a piece of farm equipment with me either.
Nope.
So AJ is really uninvolved on the farm. It's really not his thing. You came when we had the little group together for my first day of harvest. You came
Yes.
that night. And I know like farming is very unique in its own thing, but like I don't know anything about being a PA, and we're kind of very independent of ourselves. So I farm with my dad, obviously you guys know, and AJ has no interest in farming, but is completely supportive.
Yes.
He's 100% supportive of what I do. It's just not his thing.
I mean, if it's not evident enough, like I gave up a career to move here to pursue another one.
Yeah.
So I think that is, good evidence of how supportive I am.
Yeah. So quite a few more people are on here than there were earlier. So just like really brief is AJ used to be an athletic trainer. He worked on the college level. He was living in Fresno. And he quit his job, moved up here, and started PA school. So he quit his job and completely changed his career to be able to move up here and better our future too. I mean, you could find an athletic training job somewhere. Are you reading questions? Are you tired of eggs? I don't make eggs.
No.
Like almost ever.
Yeah. Paul says, I want to see your husband drive a tractor. So you want like a blooper reel or a fail video. Like, getting pulled out of a ditch. We can make that happen.
No. Sandy's on, my friend Sandy. Hi, Sandy. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably follow Sandy Brock, Sheepishly Me. I love her so much. Okay, we could get him in a tractor. I wonder, like, could I get like a 1 million view video for getting my husband in a tractor? That'd be great. See his shirt? See his great shirt he has? Farmer's husband. Okay, let's see. Why were you in Reno? I was in Reno because I was a nanny before I ever moved back to the farm. So, you know, after I graduated high school, I moved away to college, kind of bounced around a little bit, and I was a nanny in Reno. And he happened to have a job in Reno at the same time at UNR. One thing your mom texted me today, because she saw we were going to do a live, was if you remembered the very first thing I said to you at the football game.
Nope.
You don't remember?
Nope.
I asked him if he was a water boy. Do you remember now?
Yes. Okay. Probably why I forgot.
And like he has a master's degree to do his job, and I asked him if he was a water boy, trying to block that out. Okay, let me see if there are any questions.
Someone asked what specialty I want to work in.
Okay, you answer that.
I think because my background in sports medicine, I want to stay in orthopedics and sports medicine. But the one thing that I realized really quickly, like going into PA school, was that I just didn't know enough about medicine holistically, and so I kind of wanted to keep an open mind about what I wanted to do, and so hopefully I'll have a better idea of the direction I want to go during clinicals. But right now I think that orthopedics is where I'll stay.
Of course, we got quite a few questions on if we're going to have kids. Yes, we are going to have kids. I think 2 ideally. Right?
Yeah.
And what? Did you see a question?
Yeah, go up a little bit.
Let's see. Speak louder.
Dean then picked.
Yeah, I ignored that one. I ignored that one. Okay, let's see. So kids, yes, we're definitely going to have kids. Probably 2 at some point. So someone else asked if I wasn't a farmer, what do I think I'd be doing and where would we be living? If I was not a farmer, I'm assuming kind of what he said earlier would be right. I probably would end up moving to Fresno because that's where his whole family is. And I was kind of following the idea of being a teacher. I love working with kids. Like, being a nanny was so amazing. The girls I nannied were in our wedding. I just loved it so much. I probably could have been even a nanny. I could have moved to Fresno probably and been a nanny. As long as I didn't have to live with them. I was living with the family in Reno, so obviously down the road when you get married and have kids, that's hard. But I'm not great at school, so being a teacher was difficult for me to like actually get through the schooling to become a teacher. Let's see.
There's a funny story. Dan asked the question, how many times have you had to patch Tara up?
I had to patch AJ up.
Yeah, so she actually did have to patch me up. I actually had to get stitches earlier this year. I cut my hand, like I shattered a drinking glass, putting my hand into it to clean it, and it just shattered somehow. But a funny story that I was thinking about was Tara is terrified of blood.
I mean, not terrified. I just don't love it.
She called me while I was in class over a year ago. She had cut her finger, probably cutting like an apple or a persimmon, and she was like, I'm gonna pass out, like there's so much blood.
No, I didn't say
there
was blood. I didn't say there was blood.
So I'm like, okay, like I'll drive home 30 minutes from class, and I get here, and her finger is cut. It doesn't even break skin, there's no blood.
I did not say there was blood. I like stabbed my hand, and then as soon as I stabbed it, I like put pressure on it because I didn't want to see blood. And I just thought I was gonna have to get stitches or something. But he cut his hand, and I had to take it to the emergency room. Some people say they think you could drive a tractor. I think if I was desperate.
I mean, it's got GPS. You can't screw that up.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, you're not gonna put me in the big one?
We only use that for planting corn. I mean, it's okay that he doesn't work on the farm. It's not his thing. I mean, if our lives were different and maybe I was so desperate, he doesn't have time is the thing. He studies 24/7. So one person asked, how are we handling the pandemic? So for me, my life has almost not changed. I mean, there's been things like the gym is different. I have to grocery shop different. But I go to work every single day and that hasn't changed at all. His life has really changed from the pandemic. He had just started school in January.
Yeah, so we were in the middle of spring break in like the middle of March when the lockdown happened. And we haven't gone back since. We've gone back a few times here and there for like certain clinical skills, like labs where we get hands-on experience doing a couple of things, but those are only like an hour or 2 hours here and there. So the big thing for me is that you're trying to learn medicine online. It's extremely difficult to do that and not have like interaction with your peers or with your professors. Because it's stressful, you know, like Tara said, I study almost all the time, and if I'm not studying, I'm sleeping or in class or probably playing video games for an hour or two. But it's like the social interaction, like you don't realize, like I'm naturally an introvert.
I want to see my shirt. It says love the land. A few people have asked. Okay, go ahead.
So I'm naturally an introvert, but obviously you still,
oh my gosh.
Wow.
Thank you, John W. That was extremely nice of you.
But so yeah, it's just been a really big change because you're just isolated. So my life really has changed. So it's been tough. You just got to kind of get through it, and hopefully everyone will do the part to, hopefully make this thing go away.
But doing school from home has been
it's been tough.
It's been tough. And they actually were able to go to school for 4 days last week, and your mood improved so much.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, because, you know, when it's slow, like, you don't totally notice. Like, he just was, like, slowly getting a little crabbier every day, but it was, like, this very slow thing. And, like, last week, your mood was just, like, so great. But it's because he got to see his classmates, and they got to learn how to, like, draw blood and, you know, physically do things with each other. And it obviously made a huge difference, you know. One person said, I'm not, like, afraid of blood. I just, like, I don't love it. I don't want to, like, see it all the time, but I'll be fine. Someone was like, we shouldn't have kids if I don't like blood. Mm-hmm. That's what I have him for. Like, you know, if I see blood, I'm going to be like, go get your dad. Okay, how long have we been married? We got married in April of 2018.
Was that 2 years?
So 2.5 years. Coming up on 3-ish.
Yeah. And you planted your vineyard after that. So.
And I planted my vineyard 2 days after we got married. So that was a fun week. We got married, planted the vineyard. We got married in April of 2018, and we didn't go on our honeymoon till January 2019. Because April is the worst time to get married as a farmer, but I wanted nice weather. And to me it was like, I wanted a nice wedding. We can celebrate us whenever we wanted, you know. Okay, let's see. John W., thank you again so much. I love that you watch my channel with your daughter. That is great. I always love that. Did I compete in sports in college? I'm a college dropout, if any of you guys didn't know. I was definitely not good enough to play sports in college. The sport I played the most was swim team. I was on swim team, I think, for 10 years. And then when I came back from college, I coached swim team. So, but I was never like a rock star. That's what I enjoyed doing. Someone said, thank you for taking time away from your studies.
No problem.
To talk to the tube. Okay, let's see.
I actually agreed to it without knowing what it was for.
Well, I kind of tricked him, which I told you guys I was going to do that. I was just like, can I have an hour of your time? And he's like, sure. I was like, great, we're doing a YouTube live. I don't know why these are saying, people must be deleting them themselves. I keep getting message retracted. Okay. How and when can you get my wine? So, if you don't know, I personally don't make any wine. I have a contract with Gallo, so all my grapes go to Gallo. I grow all Sauvignon Blanc. It's a white wine, and so my first harvest was this year, 2020. So, like sometime next year, you should be able to find a Dark Horse Sauvignon Blanc 2020. And you can just pretend my grapes are in the bottle. And so that's going to be the best way. Okay, so someone just asked if we are both from the Delta. So if you're just chiming in, I'm originally from the Delta. AJ is
From Fresno.
He was actually born in Hawaii, which I think is cool.
Is it? I don't know.
It is cool. He was born in Hawaii. And there till you were 2?
3, I want to say.
See?
But I'm not really sure.
3. So he's from Hawaii, and then he grew up in Fresno. Yes, use your imagination when you buy my wine. Okay. Do we plan on building a house? No, I don't think so.
No? I don't know if we've really, like, seriously, like...
I plan on inheriting a house.
Yeah, but we've gone in this conversation in circles. Like, we've talked about that. We have talked about, like, building a house. Like, not, it wasn't serious, I don't think, but, like, we have floated the idea.
Yeah,
so maybe.
So, the problem with building a house where we live now is we are now considered in a floodplain. So, when my parents built their house, it was not considered a floodplain here. So, it's on, I mean, they have, like, a little house pad, but other than that, it's on the ground. Or now, your house has to be like 10 feet in the air or more. I don't even know what it is. So a lot of people have to build 2-story houses, or they build a garage on the bottom and the house on the top. And it's a lot of, I think it's a lot more difficult now that we're considered a floodplain to build a house. But we'll probably be in our house right now that we're in for a long time. Like, I don't see us leaving here anytime soon.
Yeah, me neither. We can't afford it.
We can't afford it, but I love it here. Yeah. I mean, he would like better internet. But I posted something about rural, slow internet the other day on Instagram, and a lot of people were telling me about Starlink, which is something Elon Musk is doing, I guess, and it's supposed to bring better internet to rural areas. So maybe that'll actually happen. And, like, that would change our lives.
Would it?
Yes. It would change my life, and it would definitely change yours.
You don't have to go to the library every day to upload a video.
I wouldn't have to go to the library to upload my YouTube video, and he would be happy. Because the slow internet was the biggest struggle. And it still kind of is. You just have, like, gotten a little bit used to it. But it really is. I think that's the thing. Like, if you had the highest speed internet, and I said, I want to live here for the rest of my life, would you say, okay?
In this house?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Really? If we had the fastest internet, you still wouldn't want to live here forever?
No, I don't think so.
What about at my grandma's?
Maybe. I just don't think this house is big enough to, like, raise a family, though. That's why.
But what about my grandma's only 2-bedroom?
That's true.
This is 3.
That's true.
This is plenty big to raise a family in. He's tripping. We're gonna live where I want to live.
This is what it's like to live with Tara, since somebody asked.
Okay, let's see. Do I have any idea when my wine is gonna hit the market? I don't. I feel like I asked someone how long it takes Sauvignon Blanc to get out there, but I can't remember. But I'll definitely announce it on my channel. Whenever I have a good idea of when the wine is out in grocery stores or whatever, I will tell you guys in a video.
It would have to be like at least a year or 2.
I think a year. Well, not 2 with white wine.
Oh, I'm just guessing, but I'm
Yeah.
assuming a year.
Yeah. Mike, off grid Alaska.
Wow. So he knows the struggle.
Do you know the struggle, Mike, of rural internet? Are your grapes all yours? Are you a partner with your dad? So the grapes are 100% mine. I lease the ground from my parents. I pay rent for it. Everyone like thinks that I own the ground or they just gave it to me. I actually pay like what the general
Like market value.
like what other people pay rent for grapes. I pay the same rent to them. They have to be able to pay their property tax and all that kind of stuff. So no, my parents didn't just give me ground. I actually was planning on leasing from someone else, and it kind of fell through like really at the last minute. So my parents did save me in that way, but it's been interesting. Someone asked if I have tattoos or both of us. We both have tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the one on my finger. You guys should always be able to see, and my wrist and ribs, and he's got his arm, and we both got a few tattoos. Let's see. Do I plan on having a bigger vineyard? It's been talked about a little bit, but I'm not really sure. I think I just need to stay with my 50 acres and see how it does, because my loan is for a long time. And it's gonna be a long time till I can, pay that loan back. That's a lot of stress.
I think we've talked about maybe reconsidering it.
Expanding?
Like when you get to the end of your loan. Like
Yeah,
getting
or
close
maybe
to
like
paying off.
halfway,
Yeah.
like see how I feel.
So it's not out the window, but it's also not like set in stone.
I'd really like to be a stay-at-home chicken mom. That's my goal, guys. So I need you to share my YouTube page with everyone you know and tell them to subscribe and to watch my videos. Because if I could be a full-time YouTuber and do field trips and farming stuff, that's what I would do. Because I love it. I love the farm, but I don't know if I want the stress of expanding the vineyard, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, a couple people commented about the Starlink.
Am I interested in agriculture? I love learning about the agriculture. Tara's obviously in it. My brother-in-law is big into the wine industry as well. I enjoy just like learning about it, but again, I don't really have any interest in getting out in the field and working. What I've always said is that I have a ton of respect for farmers and workers, laborers.
Yeah.
But something like, so my grandfather was a laborer. And when he had my father and his brothers and sisters, my aunts and uncles, they also worked in the field as kids also, just to make ends meet. But he basically said, like, there's going to be no Spanish in the house. You're in America, you're going to speak English. He put a strong emphasis on getting an education, and that was passed on to me from my dad. So, I never really had to work in high school. I didn't want for anything, but I also didn't have a car, so I didn't drive anywhere, so I didn't need to work to pay for it. My sole focus was on education. And so I was the second person in my family to graduate with a master's degree after my uncle. And then again, I'm getting another master's degree. And so kind of what I've always said is that this is kind of the path that my grandfather set us on. And so I kind of have avoided that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's just where my life has kind of taken me. That being said, Tara and I have definitely talked about education and what we want our family to look like, because obviously I'm very educated. Tara does not do well in school, and so we've talked about, well, honestly, higher education is kind of a racket.
Yeah.
If our children want to pursue it, we'll support them. If they don't want to pursue education, we'll support them also.
Yeah.
If they want to take over the farm, great, we'll support them. If they want to chill out, lady. If they want to do something else, we'll support them also. So yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, I feel like my parents really pushed me to go to college, which was because they thought that that's what was best for me. So like, totally understand. But it wasn't for me, and I'm still paying off college debt, and I didn't get a degree, and I really don't think I needed a degree. Obviously, if you want to be a PA, a doctor, anything like that, you got to go to college. So I just feel like young people are really pushed to go to college, like too young almost. So I think we're going to be really open-minded about that when the day comes.
Or trade school too.
Trade school. Yeah. I wish I would have gone to trade school because I probably would have found what I loved way faster. One person asked if we have a lot of redheads in our family. So neither of my parents are redheads, but my dad's beard has a little bit of red in it, and my sister and I are both redheads, and then I have one cousin that is a redhead, but neither of her parents are redheads either. So it is kind of, it must be a gene in my family somewhere. Okay, let's see. This is something I've been answering in some of your guys' comments in my videos. If people have been asking how I've been feeling, I feel totally great. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I had a heart procedure done in late July. I had a condition called WPW. It was causing me to pass out. The doctors were really like, you could get the surgery or you could not get the surgery. It's like your choice. So I ended up passing out again. It was a really scary situation. So we ended up having the surgery done, and I've had no problems since. So hopefully all that is good. I feel totally great and fine and normal. Okay, so another question that's kind of just for me is how do I market grapes? So there are people that do grape marketing, but I don't have to deal with that at all. There's like grape brokers, but I have a contract. So the way I started is I connected with people who I knew grew grapes. They connected me with Gallo, Constellation, these really big wineries, and I met with them, and Gallo's the one that gave me a contract. So they take 100% of my grapes, and that's it. I don't have to deal with marketing my grapes out. Okay, let's see. Questions. Any more questions for AJ? Come on, might never happen again. Does my dad pay me for helping him? Yeah. It's literally the only way I make money. I don't make money off the chickens, and I don't make money off the vineyard. Some people have this like assumption that we're rich because I own a vineyard. The bank owns a vineyard.
Not yet.
The bank owns a vineyard, and I work crazy amount of hours in the vineyard, and unfortunately I cannot pay myself yet. So hopefully one day I can pay myself, but my income is working for my dad and a little bit from YouTube. But yes, so that's why I work full time for my dad. That is my job. My dad and I aren't partners. Like if you looked at it like, you know, in the sense of what it really means to be a partner, we're not partners. I'm his employee. Okay. One person said, I'm just a different type of smart.
You are.
Which is true. Yeah. Yep. Different kind of education. Okay. Neither of us speak Spanish, and it makes me really sad. I wish I spoke Spanish. I wish you spoke Spanish. It's sad to me that your grandpa felt that way.
Yeah.
But I've heard that before. I've definitely heard that before. Like, that's not like your grandpa was the only one. I would really love for our children to learn Spanish, and I don't know. I'm 29. I'm sure I could still learn it if I really forced myself, and it's sad that neither of us know it. Okay. Does my sister help on the farm? No. My sister was a city girl born on a farm. She is. So she lived on the farm a few years, but like other than like on the weekend, my dad being like, "Can you help me with this thing?" Like she does not work on the farm. She is super into fitness and nutrition. And she had a business degree and did lots of business stuff. So no, not into farming at all. Okay. Will I take over my dad's farm when he retires? It's like a really weird situation. Like we are not doing, I can't think of the word. Like when your child basically inherits your business. There's a word for it. But we're not really doing that. Like I think that was the original plan when I moved back. But like I don't have any plans of growing corn. I think if we can ever get my dad to retirement, he'll be selling a little bit of his property, the equipment he doesn't need. Maybe I'll expand more grapes on what ground I can plant grapes. Maybe my cousin will grow corn on the corn ground. So even when he's retired, the goal is for him to have income off the ground. Babe, what are your hobbies? I love that question, guys.
I play video games. Pretty simple.
Hardcore. Like, I didn't get it. Like, as city people probably don't understand my obsession with chickens, I was like, you play video games? I thought, like, only kind of like nerds that, like, live in the basement and don't.
Who says I'm not those things?
You don't live in the basement. You're kind of a nerd, but you don't show it. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I was like, not too hot about it, but he has really great work ethic and he studies, and maybe not right now, but he's normally like a straight A student, you know? So if that's his thing, that's his thing, because he probably doesn't understand why my obsession with chickens. So, but it's another reason he hates the slow internet. And then outside interests, outside of gaming, we do like camping and hiking. We have totally shut that down because he's in school, really, and all his studying. But like, I try to talk about it a lot, so that way when you're done with school, like half of our wedding registry was camping stuff. Like, really. I mean, we got the Coleman stove, we got a new tent, and all this new camping stuff, and then we never got to use it. So we will get back to camping and hiking and any of that kind of stuff. Let's see. I saw one that I think said, "What's our favorite things about each other?"
Yeah, right there.
What's our favorite thing about each other? Do you have one? At our wedding, he called me a badass.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that question.
I would say like my favorite thing about you, like when we first met initially, it was just the fact that, well, you laughed at all my jokes, so that was great. You made me feel really good.
I knew how to lock it down.
No, but we both have a very strong sense of family.
That's true.
And that is something that like we have always shared. More recently, I've just been extremely proud of you. I've told you this before, of everything that you've done. Like, the farm and the vineyard has been 5 years in the making, essentially since we started dating almost.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was just really good to finally see it through, have your first harvest, like have that weight lifted off your shoulders for a couple of days, you know?
Aww.
So yeah, I'm just very proud of you.
I feel like whenever I say my favorite things about you, it's actually about me.
It probably is true.
Because, like, I was just trying to think of, like, some of my favorite things about you, and, like,
Couldn't think of anything?
One
Understandable.
One of the things, but this is about me, so I need to learn how to answer this question better.
I know what you mean now.
But like,
we talked about this.
How understanding you have been of like my anxiety and depression and all that kind of stuff, and like no one else has ever understood it.
Yeah.
You know, and you just have like never once made me feel bad about it.
One time, actually.
One time?
Yeah.
When
we were flying to Thailand and you tried to like rip my hand
off. That was like a 4-hour anxiety attack. Everyone has a limit. You know, but I mean, like, I have been like shamed by ex-boyfriends about my anxiety, and like from day one, he's always been understanding. And depending on how long you've been watching my channel, and you might know that my grandpa was killed in 2015, early 2015. So we had only been dating a couple months when that happened, and that changed my whole life. And to have only been with someone for a couple months and be like, okay, now like I have to like really hold her up, like you did amazing, you know. So, and I just know that you'll always support me. You'll always support our family through hard times, and your work ethic is amazing. That's what you are. I mean, like I kind of half-ass things, and you have really great work ethic. That was a long answer. Okay. Stance on hunting and guns. Neither of us have ever hunted, but we have no problem with it at all. I think hunting's great. I think hunters keep animals from going extinct, and if you're a hunter, you understand that. And as far as guns, it is on my list for this winter to buy a gun and get start my concealed weapons permit. That's on my to-do list. How cold does it get here? Not that cold. We rarely get a night that freezes over. Just like a couple nights. So it does not get cold here at all. Someone just said you look muscly, babe. Let me push that. He doesn't
get your eyes checked.
He doesn't work out. I work out. He does not. Or maybe it's just his face. Does his face look like leg arms, or are you saying his muscles look like leg arms? Your face kind of does. You guys have the same shaped face.
You also said I look like Tony Stark yesterday.
No.
Or mannerisms, that's right.
Your mannerisms. I watched the David Letterman show last night where he interviews Robert Downey Jr. And Robert Downey Jr. and AJ have the exact same mannerisms. And I was just like laughing the whole time because like their facial expressions, how they use their hands, it was really crazy. They're like the same. Okay, let's see. Any other good questions? Did my grape harvest?
Who's the better cook?
Did my grape harvest meet my expectations? It exceeded my expectations. So I was extremely happy with my grape harvest. Who's a better cook? Oh,
right there, from James.
I don't love cooking. I kind of wish I married someone that liked to be the cook.
Tara made it pretty obvious that she was not domestic.
I am not a domestic goddess.
But she is learning, and she is a great cook.
I made that clear from like day one.
I'm training her.
Like, he better make enough money that we can afford a house cleaner one day. Yeah.
What does it have to do with cooking?
That's part of the domestic thing. I don't like cleaning. I try to cook. He makes some good meat. And just the other day, he made steak. And I told him I wish, like, he would make more meat and I could just make, like, 1 or 2 sides. That would make me happy.
That's something we're still, like, figuring out.
2.5 years later.
I mean, our life has changed a lot, so.
What happened to your grandfather? I have a video on it. If you look up Mental Health Monday, I think I talk about it. It's from way back in the beginning, but just to keep it really short and simple, he was murdered in February of 2015, and no one was arrested. So that has really shaped who I am today, but I have found peace with it. Because I was going crazy, and that's the only thing you can do is find peace with it. Okay.
How many roosters do you have? How many do we have?
I think I have 3, 4, 9. I have 9 roosters. Wait.
How do you get from 4 to 9?
Because I was counting in my brain. I have 5 bantams, Roscoe, and then he had 4. One of the hens hatched. So that's 5. And then I have,
Thor and Zeus and Loki.
yeah. So I've got the 3 young ones, Thor, Zeus, and Loki, and then Magnus, which is my silver Orpington that looks like he's hungover all the time. Will you be in a hospital or a clinic? Wherever he can make the most money is where he's gonna work. Even though he doesn't think that yet, that is the way it's gonna be. And then, once he makes the most money, for a while, he can work wherever he wants. So after you make the most money you can, where would you like to work after that?
So it's both the hospital and the clinic. You do kind of both of those settings for your rotations. If I wanted to make the most money, it would probably be in a private clinic. But we'll see. I don't know yet. Stay tuned.
Okay. What are your plans for all your eggs? Okay. So I've been working on my big chicken coop. That's going to be a lot of what's happening this fall and winter. And the plan is to get 150 chickens. Roughly right now, I'm planning hopefully some friends that I know to do a CSA box. It's like a vegetable box that you subscribe to. They said they would take 30 dozen a week. So I'm hoping that's still available by the time I have all my chickens. I also have plans of donating eggs to families in need in our general area. I really want to do that. And then, of course, I give eggs to my family, and I just have a few local families that I deliver to once a week. So I need a lot of eggs. So many eggs. And stay tuned this Friday for my first field trip that's not at a winery vineyard, because it's amazing. And you guys might have guessed where it's at now, because I'm so excited about it. Dream place to live. Do you have a dream?
Like, we could just go anywhere in the world?
Yeah, sure. I think here. I really love it here.
I can think of dream places for vacation, but to live, that's harder.
I've been through so much trauma. I can't be far from my family. That's real. I can't. I love it here. I think it's beautiful here. I love California has some crappy things about it, but I love it. In the end, I really do. If my whole family wanted to move, there's other states I'd move in. Maybe but I don't really like the snow. I'd love Wyoming or Colorado, but I don't think I could handle the snow. I didn't like the snow in Reno, and that was nothing. Okay.
Raising chickens for fly time? Fishing flies? I've never even heard of that.
Chickens don't fly.
No. It's for fishing. So that's fishing bait, I'm assuming. I've never heard of that, though, so that'd be interesting to look up.
Fishing flies. Have you thought about raising chickens for fly time? Well, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but chickens don't fly, so if the chicken had to fly, that wouldn't work.
It's for fishing bait. I can look it up later.
Okay. Do you ever talk to this farm wife? This is a serious question.
Who is that?
Her and I are soul sisters. I love this farm wife. I love Meredith. I literally do talk to her every day. That's not an exaggeration. If we didn't live on the complete opposite sides of the country, we would see each other on a very regular basis. I love her so much. How far to a good grocery store? 30 minutes. 25 to 30 minutes is where we do all our grocery shopping, Tractor Supply. the gym, all that kind of stuff is 30 minutes.
20 if I'm driving.
Okay, let's see. I told him about the Q&A, but I tricked him. I asked if I could have an hour of his time first, and then after he said yes, I said, great, we're doing a Q&A. Okay. Someone said, I'll school you on fly tying.
Yeah, he's gonna explain it to us what it is.
Okay.
We also don't fish, so
you can
that
use
explains that.
certain chicken feathers for tying flies to fish or trout. I don't get it, but okay. Yeah, we're not fishers either, which is kind of like sad since we have a dock and all that. We really need to take more advantage of the water. Okay.
It's like
This one
like
said
the guy
that
talking
fly
about the-
tying is the process of producing an artificial fly used by fly fishing anglers.
Yeah.
So what do you use the chicken for?
To grow the feathers. You can't have feathers without a chicken.
You use the feathers as the fake fly?
That's what it sounds like.
I'm confused.
Well, it's like the Great British Baking Show last night. The guy made the shuttlecock, and he's like, "Yeah, you use the geese feathers."
The Great British Baking Show. So good. How much feed do I need for 150 chickens? I don't have 150 chickens yet, so I'm not sure. I have about 60 chickens. And I still don't keep good track of how much food I use. I'm gonna have to get better at all that. Okay. Someone asked about the fires in California. We luckily were not directly affected. We did have a lot of days covered in smoke. We had ash in the vineyard, but no smoke taint, so none of my grapes were affected. It's obviously extremely sad and heartbreaking for the people that were affected, but we weren't affected. This is Penelope. I think it was in today's video I showed the dogs. I showed Rain and Lady, and I was like, I don't know where Penelope is. She got almost hit by a car that day, which was really fun. We have an underground fence. It's called like an invisible fence, and they wear a collar that once they get close to the fence, it beeps, and then if they get right on top of the line, it'll shock them, but they know once they hear that beep to turn around. And we were short one collar, and I thought Penelope knows where the line is. She's not going to do anything. And then my mom like frantically called me and was like, Penelope's almost on the road.
I'd have done that.
AJ would have been crushed. It's his baby. Oh, Penelope. Okay. More important things. You should make dog shirts, like with Rain on it. Rain is in my very original logo. Okay, do my chickens lay different color eggs? Yes, they do. I get all different shades of brown. I get blue, green, all the colors. Oh, okay. We've got maybe 10 minutes left. Any other questions for AJ?
Someone wants to know if the Roosters wake me up. I'm used to it now.
Oh, do the Roosters wake you up in the morning?
Nope.
The Bantam Roosters, which when I do my intro or whatever you want to call it near the chicken coop, you almost always hear them. The Bantam Roosters crowing. They sound like they're on helium. None of the normal roosters are crowing yet. It's just the Bantams. They have like crowing competitions every morning. It's just like one. It doesn't bother me at all.
No.
It doesn't bother me at all.
No. Also,
The dogs are like, it's dinner time. So it's almost 5 o'clock here, but the time just changed. So the dog, it normally would be 6, and 6 o'clock is dinner time, and they're like, excuse me.
Yep.
Were you gonna say something about the chickens?
No, it was just like when we moved here, our landlord, Lord, wanted to make sure that like people that lived here were okay with agriculture. And,
Yeah.
because like we have sometimes tractors driving through the orchard at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So-
I can sleep through anything.
Yeah.
Roosters not gonna bother me.
He can sleep through anything. Yeah, we got, we're really, really lucky where we live. We rent our house, and our landlord lives right next door. And what happened was my dad and I came here to help him get a tractor out of one of his garages. First time I had met him, and they were kind of refurbishing this house, and I had been living with my grandma at the time because it was after we lost my grandpa. And he just like made this incredible deal and was like basically kind of what AJ said. He wanted a farmer or someone that understood farm life living out here, because there's random people that drive through, there's tractors going at random times, and they've really become like part of our family. We've become part of their family now. He doesn't have any grandkids, but we love his kids so much. We love him. He's kind of like an adopted grandpa. So we're really, really lucky to be living where we are. Okay. We have 3 dogs. This is Lady, aka Meatloaf, Penelope, and then you guys know Rain. So we have 3 dogs, 3 cats. And then I have like 65 chickens, I think. Kai just got done with harvest. Woo! Congratulations. I don't want to make out with you. What made you go into the medical field? That's a great question.
That actually is a good question.
What made AJ go into the medical field?
Well, I'll just say I was an athlete in high school. Got injured a few times, and had an athletic trainer at my high school. That's how I got exposed to the field. Didn't know what I wanted to do in college until I met somebody who graduated from an athletic training program in my fraternity. And then I remembered, oh, you know, like I want to stay in sports, but I want to do something that actually helps people. And I thought, you know what, I would love to do athletic training, so I did that. Did that for 5 years, and then now I'm here doing PA stuff. So yeah, I think like most people, I got into medicine because either they were a patient directly, or they had somebody in their life that was affected by the medical field. They just kind of want to pay it back. I think that's probably true for most people.
One person asked, have you considered specializing in any field like athletics?
Yeah, so that would be like sports medicine, which yeah, I definitely have considered.
Oh, I didn't even
because-
realize. I just thought it was like specializing in orthopedics. I didn't realize you, as a PA, you could specialize in sports medicine.
Not so there are. It's not really you specializing in sports medicine. It's more like you work for like a clinic or a practice that specializes in sports medicine. Orthopedics is like just very general.
Yeah.
Like the doctors that worked at Fresno State, they do orthopedics. So they're seeing, 60 or 70-year-old people that need hip or knee replacements or shoulder replacements, and then they see everybody down to, teenagers that need to have their ACL reconstructed, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it's very broad. It can be both. You can just do general orthopedics. You can do orthopedic trauma, like in a hospital. You could do sports medicine. So there's a lot of variety.
Yeah. Okay, that was a good one. Okay, let's see.
I played football in high school.
Oh, yeah. Someone just said, "What did you play in high school?" And then someone asked if I knew Brian's farming videos. Yes, I do know Brian. I have met him in person, and I did not know he was going live soon. So hopefully we will.
Penelope.
Awkward. I'll be able to rewatch it on the my computer's got like a 10-second lag, so I was able to like rewatch her fall. Anyways, hopefully Brian and our live stream won't overlap too much. But yes, Brian just hit 100,000 subscribers. I'm so stoked for him. I can't wait for that day for me. I'm like, I feel so far, but it'll happen. Okay. I think we're probably good. Okay, any last questions? We just did an hour. I feel like we answered a lot. I tried. I'm just gonna scroll up really quick and see if there were any questions I missed. One person asked about the orange tree, which not as many of you ask anymore because I don't always start my videos out there. I made this little private video that I've linked to some of my videos about the orange tree, but the short answer is no, they are not edible. We have a wild orange. They taste terrible, and the orange tree has spikes on it that are, I am not exaggerating, this big. And they fall on the ground and the chickens eat them. Some people say citrus isn't good for chickens, but I don't feed them to the chickens. They just eat them and they seem fine. So that's the gist on the orange tree. Okay. Wow, you guys are awesome. You asked so many good questions. I think a couple of you donated a little bit of money. I am extremely thankful for that. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
It means a lot. I know a lot of you understand the farming grind, and AJ being in school, just chugging along. Okay, let's see. Did we get any last? Okay, people said it was so nice meeting you. We should do it again.
We'll see.
Maybe we could do it every few months. Do little check-ins.
I don't want them to get too used to me.
We could do it. How many acres do you farm? I personally farm 50 acres. My dad has a couple hundred. I honestly don't know how many acres. Not a crazy amount though. Every year he's been cutting back a little bit. And people want me to make a video with you on the farm, which I think we'll have to do.
We'll see.
We'll just do a video like me teaching you how to drive a tractor. It could be a hit. It could be the one that just makes me a star.
Don't put that kind of pressure on me.
Okay, husband tries to farm for 24 hours.
And fails.
That's a great title. Oh my god, we're gonna do it. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This was fun. You guys got to meet the hubby. He did it. Supportive. And I'll give you guys little updates on him, and maybe I can get another live in a few months. All right?
All right.
Okay, thanks guys. Bye.
Bye. You guys hungry? Is it dinner time? Is it dinner time?